Hi guys, welcome back. So today we've got this B8.5 S5 in for APR Stage 2 upgrade, including the smaller supercharger pulley. Before we get into it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, also notification bell, and then you won't miss any new videos when they go live. And obviously if you like the video, then give us a thumbs up as well. But yeah, so we're doing the Stage 2 upgrade with the supercharger pulley on this. That's like the main sort of like headline thing. We're also installing the Eventuri Carbon Fibre intake and a Milltek Non-Res exhaust system as well, so the loudest Milltek exhaust system. So also installing the APR TCU software as well. So optimize the TCU software, extending the rev limits, we'll be able to get like the maximum gains from obviously doing the software and the hardware upgrade as well. So this car at the moment is running REVO Stage 1. So we've done some dyno runs on that already, and then later on we'll obviously fit all the parts. We'll get it back on the dyno once we've fitted the software as well, or flashed the software, and then compare to the REVO Stage 1 to the APR Stage 2 with all of those hardware additions as well. Yeah, so hope you enjoy the video. Okay, so we're in the workshop. Obviously we've got the car on the ramps and we've got all the parts laid out in front of us, so we're just going to walk you through them. So we've got the Eventuri Carbon Fibre air intake here, so replaces the factory airbox and the intake hose as well. So really high flow filter, which is in like an enclosed carbon fibre airbox, so it'll flow more and also resist heat soak a little bit more as well. So make a little bit more power, a little bit more torque. And then we've got the Milltek Non-Res Cat-back exhaust system. So going from basically the factory manifolds back, doesn't interfere with any of the like emission control systems, any cats, anything like that. So there's two rear silencers only in this system, so it's a very loud system. And then you've got the Milltek tips as well, which replace the factory tips and look obviously a lot better. So better exhaust tone with that, and then obviously with the intake you get a better intake roar as well, so you can really hear the supercharger. And then we've got the APR Supercharger Pulley. So this is a different diameter pulley, so it basically allows the supercharger to make more revolutions for any given RPM versus the standard one. So basically it makes more boost in any RPM versus the standard one. And obviously we're going to install APR Stage 2 ECU software for the supercharger pulley, and that's going to optimize obviously fuel and ignition, all the other maps inside the ECU to make the most out of the more supercharger boost. And obviously you've got a different belt there as well. Yeah, so we're going to get everything fitted to the car and hope you enjoy. so we're back on the dyno after having fitted the Eventuri Carbon Fibre intake, the Milltek Non-Res Exhaust System, APR Stage 2 ECU Software, the TCU Software, and the Supercharger Pulley as well. So obviously you've probably heard the difference in the exhaust note, and then also obviously the intake roar as well, which is massively different on this car with the intake. We're going to walk you through the power and torque gains versus a standard car to what it is now. So obviously dynoed the car this morning, came in around about 337 horsepower, 370 foot-pounds of torque as well. So we're just going to compare the graphs behind us. So the blue lines are the torque, the red lines are the horsepower, the dotted lines being as it arrived this morning, so stock, and then the solid lines being as it leaves us today. So as you can see, massive gains all the way across the rev range. The car's now making just over 480 horsepower and 420 foot-pounds of torque as well. So a massive difference compared to the standard figures. In terms of maximum torque gains within the rev range, you're looking at around 40 to 50 foot-pounds. And obviously in terms of horsepower, because this is revving out to like 7,250 now, as opposed to the standard rev limit, which is about 6.1, 6.2. You can't really compare the maximum gains, but you can see the power just keeps on increasing until the gears change. I mean, the car is now making peak power around 1200 RPM earlier, so around about 4,800 RPM. You're making the peak standard power now, so that's going to be a massive difference. Everything above that is just massive gains. And in a second, we're going to compare the Stage 1 ECU with TCU with this car as well, to give you an idea of what difference an intake, exhaust, and supercharger pulley with the appropriate software can do. Okay, so behind me we've got a couple of wall and road graphs. So the dotted lines is a S5 with Stage 1 ECU software and Stage 1 TCU software, and then the solid lines is this car that we're talking about today, with the APR Stage 2, the pulley, the TCU software, the Eventuri intake, and the Milltek Non-Res exhaust system. Obviously, it's not on the same car in the same conditions, so it's not a one-to-one sort of like comparison example. Obviously, conditions are a little bit different as well, but it still gives you an idea of what sort of differences there are across the rev range, an idea of what sort of like the differences might be if you do go on to add like a supercharger, supercharger pulley, exhaust, and an intake with the appropriate software. So we're just going to run through it. So the car with Stage 1 ECU software and TCU software, which is the dotted lines, at peak it made around 446 horsepower, whereas this particular car with the solid lines is making just over 480. The maximum gains within the rev range, sort of like above 6,000 RPM, are in excess of like 40 horsepower and 30 foot-pounds of torque. So it's a big tangible difference. You're definitely going to feel the difference in these cars. 40 horsepower, you're definitely going to feel. And obviously you can see there's a massive difference all the way across the rev range in power and torque as well. So it is a substantial difference with doing the supercharger pulley with the appropriate software. So let us know what you think. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, then please give us a thumbs up. If you'd like to watch other videos of ours that YouTube thinks you'll like, then click up here. If you'd like to watch some other videos that we have in the same playlist, then click here. And obviously if you enjoyed the video, then we really appreciate if you gave us a subscription. And then obviously you'll be updated when other videos of ours go live, and you can do that quite easily by clicking here. Hope to see you soon.